It's been about a year since employers made a push for workers to head back to the office, introducing a new era of hybrid work. And a new survey by the Federal Reserve Bank of New York shows that business leaders predominantly perceive remote work as having negative effects, particularly on workplace culture, communication, and training. Now companies are introducing varied hybrid work policies, and workers are adapting to this new way of working. Joining us now is Tsedal Neeley, Harvard Business School professor, and Alan Guarino, Korn Ferry vice chairman. I hope these two individuals really have opposing viewpoints, but usually people are reasonable, and I guess we're looking at kind of a hybrid notion about the future in addition to work, Tsedal. My first question to you is going to be, if you used to be an 8 on remote work, are you coming down? Has your zeal for that or your prospects for that being such an important part of the future, has that lessened at all? Because in recent months, you've slowly heard sort of a groundswell of saying, look, we got to get back to work, either from CEOs or just people in general.
Good morning, Joe. It's great to see you. You know, my zeal is for data. It's not for remote work. It's not for hybrid work. It's for data. And so I just look at data to say that office attendance has stabilized at about 30% below the times that we had pre-pandemic. And hybrid work is what many companies are attempting to pursue. And if you look at that, and companies do have productivity challenges or concerns, but when you look at the data closely, you also see that most companies have not changed, adapted, created new work models in order for flexible work to succeed. A recent survey showed that, in fact, 53% of employees found that their employers have neither created designs, support systems to make hybrid work successful. You can't cut and paste the pre-pandemic work model into today's work model and expect it to be as effective.
Yeah. So the people that have the vested interests, they're like dragging their feet, even though a lot of people would like to move into that. Alan, a lot of times I can't figure out which side to come down on, so I do the Ben Franklin close. It's like 13-12 on this. I mean, there's camaraderie at work. There's all the support staff in New York that needs people here, that they have jobs they have to show up for. It'd be nice if they could service the people that used to be coming into New York. But then I think about, commuting costs and childcare, and so it's really split between, is it about 13-12? I can come up with 13 really good things about it and 12 bad things about it?
Joe, good question in terms of how do you score this? Here's what I'd like to say. COVID did not cause remote work. Remote work was caused by the fact that the pace of work was getting so frenetic that this was going to happen anyway. COVID was a shock to the system and made it a topic, made it possible, sent everybody home, and gave us the opportunity to rethink. Tsedal is absolutely right that we have to be better at creating culture remotely. We have to be better at training and developing people remotely. So all of that is true. I come down, quite frankly, on hybrid, but I also have a caveat. Early career people need time in an office with a leader that can help them. You don't have basic training in the Army remotely. There is a reason why you bring people together to establish a foundation and get them ready for a career. So the people that are being hurt, if we could say people are being hurt by the lack of in-office intensity, is that early cohort of workers. But by the way, when they go to work, if the boss isn't there, it's a joke. There's no reason for them to sit in an office and have remote meetings with their boss. So we have to figure this out. We have to figure out how to do it, but hybrid is here to stay. And it was coming anyway. COVID made it happen quickly.
It's not just, though, the youngest cohort of workers, Alan, who might be missing. I mean, not just if their boss is not there, but even the next level above them. Oftentimes, learning happens from other people on your team who may be the next rung higher than you are. And so, Tsedal, I'm just curious how you think about the longer-term ramifications on the workforce if there's not that sort of infrastructure of people to learn from. Even if the boss is in the office, that's not necessarily the person that entry-level worker is going to directly learn from.
You're 100% right. The idea of learning and even vicariously learning is critically important, particularly, as Alan mentioned, those who are early in their careers. So the office presence is important for that, which is why hybrid onboarding, remote onboarding looks very different than an in-person company onboarding. So we need to get better at this onboarding, and we need to be systematic. How many times have people shown up into the office to be around people for the informal contact, for the water cooler conversations, and no one is around? But it's not going to happen through serendipity. It can only happen if we're organized and structured. And by the way, you can also learn through digital interactions as well. And one more thing I want to say is this modern work, hybrid work, that conversation cannot be separated with the emerging technologies like generative AI, ChatGPT, Bing, Bard. When it comes to productivity and focused work, people want more of that at home using these tools in order to be much more productive. So organizations have to not only think about their hybrid models, they need to really think about their generative AI models.